This week's episode was brought to you by Brand. It's Brand Weizen, and it is, it's like Bavarian beer, but it's actually from the Netherlands. But
So
still-
Brand, we just made an ad for you. Give us money.
yeah, give us money, Brand. I'll say it in Dutch because they're a Dutch company. Godverdomme, waar is mijn geld? Geef me al het geld, Brand. Ik wil 6 miljoen euro. Well, there you go. That's the intro to this episode of Radio
in itself
Rothingham.
sounded like an ad.
Yes. So
I
yeah.
agree.
And Panboy agrees. It's yours truly, the Artrix. We got with us Xaverius, who thus far hasn't missed a single episode of Radio Rothingham. We have Sekele.
Hello.
And we got ourselves a Panboy from the island.
I was Irish once.
We also have Artrix, but nobody cares about that.
Everyone cares because if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't be here. But then again, it is a very ungrateful job,
Yes, being Artrix is a very ungrateful job.
Yeah, you have to deal with people like Xaverius. It's very annoying. But I'll do it. I'm the mature one, so...
I'm not people.
The what now?
Stop insulting me.
I'm insulting you all the time. All the time.
But not like this.
So you're upset that I'm insinuating that you're people?
Obviously. Who wouldn't be?
Oh, okay. Well, if it makes you feel any better, then I'm going to unperson you. But without the actual killing. I'm just going to
Russian now?
It was always Russian.
I'm actually secretly Russian.
That's his secret.
Yes.
He's always Russian.
Always. Not sometimes, but I'm always Russian.
Full
I
time.
Always Russian all the time.
Yeah, full time 25/7 Russian.
Yeah, you see, I am the Russian hacker. That's it. That's the entire thing.
I'm trying.
I mean, even though the United States is acting against Russia's interest and whatnot, I am the hacker.
The hackers, all of them.
I'm all of them all at once. I'm doing it
Bring
right
you
now.
it.
Legion.
Anyway,
That
let's.
doesn't mean you never forgive.
And I also never forget.
Should we
me.
expect you?
Yes.
But no one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Speaking of Spanish,
And the Dutch
I'm drawing a Mexican right now. Her name is Sombra, and she exists. So I'm drawing her right now, and she's much better than a certain other character that I know by that name, which is kind of concerning, seeing as her entire character can be summed up as boop, and the other character can be summed up as crystals.
I'm pretty sure he said slaves at one point.
Yeah, but Sombra also said something about hack the planet, so that evens out there.
That's a reference.
That's an entire sentence,
That's a reference.
and it's also a reference. The rabbit hole goes deep.
I've apparently been here all along.
Mhm.
Get it? Bean, Mexican.
I bet she likes them tacos. I sure think she
Right?
likes tacos.
And beans. Lots of beans.
But especially tacos, especially on Tuesday.
What? Why are you so interested in Sombras today?
I don't know.
No idea.
I
It just
guess
happened.
I guess it's just one of those random days. You just randomly decided, you know what? I'm just gonna draw Sombra today. It's not like I've been trying to draw all the Overwatch characters, and last time I drew Lucio, who's a dude.
Why would you
so I'm
do
like,
that?
This time I'm going to draw the chicks again, and the list is not exactly growing because I think all I'm left with now is Zarya, and then some other characters I probably don't. Really
I
care
take
much about.
offense that you didn't draw Lucio last and forgot about him.
No. I drew him last time. Like, Lucio's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You drew him.
Yes. He's cool. So of
No.
course I draw him.
He's not cool. He's Lucio.
So who's cooler than Lucio? Can you tell me that? Who's cooler than Lucio?
May.
Everybody else.
I don't know, Panboy. Do you do nice beats? Do you bring rhythm to the party?
Oh,
Reaper
you're
that.
saying they're not cool.
The Reaper makes the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure a guy skateboarding around, blasting out music is the exact definition of not really cool, but trying way too hard to be cool.
Do you ride a skateboard, Panboy?
No, I wouldn't try to be
He
cool.
doesn't ride a skateboard.
Neither does Lucio. He doesn't ride a skateboard.
He rides miniature skateboard shoes.
Yeah. That's
I don't know what you're
he
talking
can
about.
also-
Is this a character from a video game?
Yes.
What's a video game?
What was a computer? I mean, I just spent more than $1,000 on upgrading mine. But what's a computer?
No. You're upgrading your battle station.
Oh yes, my battle station. And but since I'm also using it for commerce, I guess that makes it a war machine.
Combat station.
Commerce station. Oh, it's literally a workstation.
Basically, you have the entire city-state of Venice on your desk.
Wow. Well, considering that modern computers are a multitude faster than the most advanced computers we had on the very computers that brought us to the moon, which is also
Well, those computers were pretty primitive.
they were. I
I'm
bet
pretty
you,
sure my old phone is better than those computers.
yes, because I'm
I'm-
pretty sure that you couldn't play Snake on those computers. So that of course automatically makes modern computers better.
No, you can play Snake. Snake just didn't exist yet.
That's a detail.
That sounds terrifying. I could never live in a world without Snake.
Snake!
Well, you're going to have to do
Exactly.
some volume leveling on this video
Why?
because of that noise that just blew out my headphones.
Oh, it didn't on my end. And if it does, well, sorry that your ears are bleeding. But no
Need to learn
refunds.
how to yell in Luke.
Anyway, maybe we should bring up some topics instead of
What's the topic?
topping is something you put on a hot dog.
So good news. We need some good news.
Actually, yes, we usually talk about a lot of negative news, about how the world is going to shit. But
Because
maybe we should. That's going to be the title of this episode. I'm drawing Sombra.
Yes,
It's
the title
nice
is going to
weather.
The world is definitely not going to shit. Promise.
So it's going to be the positive episode.
I've got something perfect for you, Artrix, and it comes from your homeland.
My homeland. Oh my god.
Your homeland.
So you mean France?
No.
Oh.
A genuine Netherlandy product. The PAL V. It's a flying car. It will
Wow.
only set you back $500,000, and you'll need a dedicated pilot's license to even get your foot inside one.
Sounds cheap.
But it's a flying car. We're going to make this shit all Jetsons and shit. I can see it now. I'm going to get my 9-to-5 job just to do it. I'm going to quit freelancing, and I'm just going to get a 9-to-5, and then
Good idea.
I'll be like, honey, I'm going to go to work. And then the woman's like, I don't even know you, but that doesn't matter because I'm in a fucking flying car and I'm flying to work. And then I'll be rich.
You don't need to know you're supposed to be an effective family unit.
I think there's a few minor problems with this flying car.
Who doesn't fly?
It flies, yeah.
Okay, that's better than I expected.
But I think some of the problems will be, the lack of any kind of designated landing areas. It probably won't be road legal. You won't be allowed to put it in your works car park because
Minor details, Panboy.
I think there's also some laws currently preventing the use of VTOLs in cities.
Huh.
I don't know.
You just need to build cities that allow VTOLs.
Well, that does bring up a good point in the sense that okay, so currently we've like these cars driving around the city and they look like Google cars except they're not because all they do is make sure that people paid for their for the parking either by using a permit or just purchasing a ticket and one of the ticket stand thingies.
Wait, are these automated cars?
No, they are still operated by humans, but in ye olden times, I looked out the window and I saw these guys just walking around staring at license plates and writing shit down. And I think even my former roommate had like a little spat with one of these guys because they just didn't really like his face and how he treated them. So they were like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna write you up for parking violation."
They're going to take your face away.
Well, yeah, they were like, "Yeah, I don't really like you, so I'm just going to write you up for a parking ticket, and you can go and try and contest it."
And then they came for him, and then they took his face, and you can't really contest without a face.
No, really. So he was fucked because I think he ended up losing the whole ordeal. So he ended up having to pay parking fine even though he had a permit. And the argument was, yeah, but the permit wasn't properly displayed. Well, not anymore because these days it's all done on license plate. So they just have like a database, and if you're not in the database, then well, you get a ticket. But seeing as your license plate is on the car at all times, well, you're most of the time you're good. Unless someone steals your license plate, and then I'm pretty sure other mechanisms will go into effect.
Well, it's better than if they stole your car and left the license plate.
But the point is that okay, so you have one of these, right? You have
Cars.
You have cars. Now you have one of the flying cars. And then a parking mate comes along and he's like,
just need, Alex, we just need a flying parking lot.
yes, we just built one. Let's go. I'll go one step further. All we need is just a flying city. I don't care how we do it, but we just need one. Just like Mvidja. We're just gonna build like instead of New Columbia, it's gonna be New Rotterdam. And instead of a seaport, it's going to be an airport, but it's a literal airport as it's just a seaport, but in the sky.
I don't know, you're Dutch. There's a chance there's going to be a flying sea involved.
Yeah, we're just going to, make a floating sea. You're just going to look up and there's like a huge body of water up in the air. And then you're like, okay, what if it falls down? Then it was like, shh.
It doesn't fall down. Dutch engineering.
Exactly. We wills it so. I mean that's how we're keeping the sea away. It's not about engineering and maths and whatnot. No, we just tell the sea to fuck off, and it actually does it. Because if it doesn't, then we're just gonna tell, and it's gonna be like, oh, we've got some incriminating information on you, sea. So if you decide to fuck with us.
They're gonna tell the ocean.
Yeah, we're going to tell the ocean. Because technically the Netherlands is not, is not bordering the Atlantic Ocean, even though it's basically the same body of water. But it's the North Sea, so we're like, yeah, North Sea. If you even dare to invade, we're going to tell on you. We're going to tell on you. We're going to go to the ocean. We're going to tell you what a scumbag you are. And that's basically social justice tactics applied to the sea. But it's good, you see, because we're actually, keeping ourselves safe, not dying. That's kind of good, I guess.
Not dying? Good.
I like not dying.
I might have a point there.
Dying is my favorite pastime.
Not dying is oppressive.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. Of course, because if you don't die, you'll be using resources that some other poor slob could have been using. Like, this people of unspecified race, gender, or sexual orientation is just sitting there smoking weed all day long. They need all the resources that you'd be otherwise using.
I agree.
Okay, let's do it right now. So who's going to volunteer? Just like United Airlines, who's going to volunteer to basically die so they can have all your stuff?
Basically die.
Hmm? Well, dying is a very complicated process. You know, gotta simplify as much as I can. Anyway, Panboy, can you tell us anything else about these flying cars?
Well, they look like gyrocopters from the 1920s.
Hmm.
But
That's
but
always good.
it looks like someone took a gyrocopter, slapped a moped body on it, and made it all look kind of sort of almost pretty.
Almost. It
Almost.
does sound an awful lot like that flying car they invented back in that same time era. I think it was like the 80s or even the 60s. No,
Do
it
you
was
mean
more
the
like
sky
the
car?
Yeah, so it was a car and you could attach wings to it. So it's like
Oh no, this isn't
so
like
it's
that.
like, honey, I'm going to work, and then you drive down to the airport where these wings are waiting for you, and just mount the wings to your car.
See,
Then you fly
that's
around, and then you crash because the hook mechanism fails, and you just plummet to your death.
see, you've just stumbled accidentally upon the core problem with all of these flying car ideas.
They're basically just airplanes.
They just don't hold.
Yes, the fact that they have to follow all the airplane rules, land on runways at designated airports, and will literally not be allowed to be used as cars, because the problem that a flying car is supposed to address is gridlock.
Hmm?
How is your flying car going to address gridlock when all the flying cars are flying to the airport and then everyone drives out of the airport in their regular cars? So actually adding double to the gridlock.
Yeah, the only traffic it would alleviate is intercity travel. So if you go from one city to another, then that would kind of solve the car problem. That's already being addressed by things like trains and airplanes.
And to be honest, intercity travel isn't usually where all the gridlock is anyway.
Not really. It's in, well, cities.
Like,
That's where the problem is.
I've seen much more terrifying but more practical solutions, but none of which will ever actually get approved for flying in a city. Like there was a Japanese guy who just strapped a counter rotor to a moped engine and put it on his back, and he said, "This is my personal copter." That was great. He could fly in and out of work anytime, land on the roof, take off his little backpack, and be to work in 5 minutes from anywhere in the city. But no, that would never get approved because it's fucking terrifying. Could you imagine if a pair spinning rotor blades just with a guy hanging out of them fell out of the sky on a busy street? Just picture that. Picture the busiest shopping street in your country.
Mhm.
Now picture this one-man helicopter jetpack just flying down and going through them with the rotor spinning at full speed.
Awesome.
Well, I guess he was Japanese, right? So that wouldn't be anything abnormal. I mean, with all these suicide rates, there's probably somebody sputtering at the pavement every half an hour.
They put nets around the buildings.
I still
See, that's why I use the rotor. It cuts the net.
yeah. I bet those would also work really well on sort of toad powered roadways.
Yeah, just put a solar panel on the rotor instead of the moped engine. That'll work.
And then just add a lot of toads.
They're actually trying that in Dubai. I think I mentioned it before. The electric-powered flying
Yes.
cars.
They did. Not sure if it's gonna work, but A for effort, I guess. I mean, if they're not too busy oppressing their women's, then they might as
Well,
well try and do something productive.
It's called electric powered and flying, so I think it won't work at all.
But what if the electricity is powered by all the suffering that women endure in Saudi Arabia? I'm
See,
pretty
the-
sure
the-
that would generate enough to fly to New
The
York and
problem with
back.
taking
6
off is that you need to lift something
Hmm?
against its own weight and the gravity.
Oh dear, I just decided to remind myself of what the Dubai flying car looked like.
So far, we only figured out that enough force to do that is actually an explosion in a controlled environment, or in the case of rockets, explosion in a semi-controlled environment.
Well,
Yup.
at least the idea isn't as batshit crazy as the EM. What was it called again?
M drive.
The M drive, which is basically like to counter 1 Newton, we just need like 100 watts or something.
They're
something
just
ridiculous
blindly
like
going
that.
to fire molecules into all sides of this space, and some of them are going to go outside. So when all the powers, all the forces equalize, we are going to get thrust. Yes, about
Basically,
half a millimeter.
basically, it would take the entire power grid of the United States to lift 100 people or something like that.
I did hear that math being spewed out by someone.
Yes.
I think that was a foot with thunder on it.
Yes.
Maybe. Well, when
Uh,
I first heard about it, I was like, okay, well, this might be useful for doing some minutia maneuvers when it's in orbit. But no, the people who proposed it were like, this is going to take us to space. No?
Just like the waterseers and whatnot.
Yes, that's
see,
also going to take
what-
us to
what-
space.
What if he, all these concepts have like a palette of truth to them, but they just don't work in reality. So if we just add them together into one giant project, what would we get and would it actually work? So if we put a waterseer on
Solo freaking water loop.
and don't forget the hyperloop. So we have like a loop. We put in an EMD drive. The loop is completely covered by solar freaking roadways, and it's
And toads.
and toads, of course. Let's not forget toads, and something with the water seer. Come on, we're creative. We can
No,
think of
it's,
something.
it's a water loop.
Oh yeah, of course. It's instead of air or a vacuum, it's just filled completely by water, which is provided by the water seers, obviously.
Yeah.
So we get a
You
hyperloop.
just have water seals endlessly sticking over the surface.
But
So
the
it's-
hyperloop will obviously generate infinite amounts of water because it's sucking all the air out of the air constantly, and the water that's in that air has to go somewhere, right?
Yeah. So you use the water seer to extract all that air, so you can use it to fill the hyperloop tubes with water, which we will then use to circular logic. This was foolproof. Let's get a bunch of investors into this. We can.
But-
All right.
Yes, I support this idea 100%. Also, I was just looking at the Dubai taxi. And you know what I said about 2 rotors destroying everyone on the street? The Dubai taxi has 8 rotors.
So that's
Oh,
8.
oh, oh,
It,
oh.
it's
So
4
that's-
times as efficient.
So that's 8 times more toads we could potentially, mush into toad mush, and that would make everything even more better.
It's terrible. I'm just looking at it now. They didn't put anything around the rotors. There's no like little cage or anything. Anyone could just walk right into this damn thing when it's taking off.
That's good.
Like I saw some designs of the Sky Car years ago, which had turbo props to lift it off the ground, which were great. But even then, they put the turbo props in a little cage, or not a cage, but there was like chassis around them, so you couldn't just accidentally into the propeller.
You don't need those anymore.
Accidentally.
People just evolved to not get into those.
Yep. Eventually, we'll just evolve to not get stuck in flying car rotors. We'll
I'm
be
just-
fine.
I'm just waiting for the next one, the next design that just has 4 literal jet engines, and if anyone walks near it, they'll just get sucked straight in. It's like, this is perfect for inner city transit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this almost sounds like. Actually, this does sound like the kind of. Well, I was gonna say Hyperloop, but for something like this, maglev would be perfectly fine. If we can have a system where you just sort of go to this train station, and you can use like a local subway system to get people from and to the subway station, and then have this hyperloop that just gets people into the city center.
Artrix, you're applying common sense to Elon Musk's ideas.
That is very true.
You can't do that. If
Oh.
it's not a giant vacuum tube, what's even the point?
The hyperloop can, or the maglev can have like a vacuum tube right next to it, so it can send messages through the, you know.
Artrix, look, a perfectly good and functional monorail maglev just will not satisfy someone like Elon Musk. It's just not aerodynamic enough. See all the air? You need to get rid of it. Air is bad.
But what if it, you know, suits the needs of the system just fine? I mean, we don't need to traverse thousands of kilometers. We just need to go from, you know, the outskirts of town to the inner city.
Look, Artrix. If your train isn't in a vacuum and isn't powered by a railgun mechanism, it's just not going to be fast enough, okay?
So it'll turn people in the train to mush, but
That's a side effect.
That's a minor
Hey,
side
it's
effect.
gonna be the fast.
Look, if the back of every train isn't a nice smear of human pudding at the end of every trip, it obviously wasn't fast enough.
Obviously, no. But I also kind of like living, so I think I'll pass.
It's overrated.
Living
I-
is
I-
racist.
Yeah, I'm probably being a conservative asshole by holding
Artrix,
these
Artrix,
very
Artrix.
controversial beliefs, but that's the price I'm willing to pay.
Okay, Artrix. If you haven't traveled by orbital railgun train, you never lived in the first place.
I don't know about that.
All right,
Hmm.
here's my idea for a hyper non-loop.
A hyperline.
Exactly. What you do is, rather than try to get rid of all the air and drag and all that, instead make a zeppelin and put on a string. Tie that string to a really fast car. And just drive the car really fast from city to city. Look, you'll be eliminating the drag forces of gravity,
Sounds good.
because now you only have the one vehicle on the ground, and it's dragging the train, the zeppelin.
Semantics.
And also put rocket engines on the zeppelin.
And
And
also put a hyperloop on the zeppelin. I'm sure that'll speed it up too.
Yeah.
Just build one in the air that's big enough for the zeppelin.
No,
Don't
what you
forget
do
to
is,
hang everything from an asteroid.
yes, the genius plan of. Oh, did we talk about the genius asteroid skyscraper idea?
I don't think we have, but I think I know the basic premise. So basically, what we do is just. Well, maybe these are not related, but one of the ideas is like, let's just build a tower that's really, really tall, and then make an elevator that goes all the way to. No, actually, it didn't involve asteroids. It was just like, well, let's build a space station and tether it to the planet, and then we'll be rich.
Well, that's just the good old-fashioned space elevator.
Yeah.
No. What these people were talking about, and apparently a genuine architectural firm came up with this idea, and it makes me question their understanding of physics, architecture, math, and a whole variety of other things.
And life in general.
But they proposed that they could build an utterly self-contained, monumental skyscraper in the sky, so it that would be hanging from a near orbit object.
It's more like Earth scraper.
Yes, indeed.
It would
Which
be
would-
an Earth scraper.
And it probably eventually would when this idea fell apart because it's so bad. So you'd have this building hanging from the sky, and they were proposing that the building would be so large, you would be able to see it just above, the skyline of regular buildings. So it'd just be there hanging in space, and you'd be able to, you could see people standing on the roof of it upside down. Wait.
Yeah, wait, what?
Yes,
Makes
yes.
perfect sense to me.
How physics? How?
Don't worry. They didn't worry about physics when they designed this. And so you'd be looking up at the building, looking at its top floor windows from the bottom, and it would be hanging on a giant cable that went all the way up into space and was tied around a really big rock.
Okay, so the tower doesn't actually go all the way to the space rock, but
On the pictures I saw, it pretty much did, but they didn't really have any notion of firstly how they keep air in it.
Details?
that is a very minor detail. Come on.
How people would actually live in low gravity environment for that length of time, because as you move away from Earth, gravity go bye-bye.
No.
Exactly.
Indeed. So like the lowest floors, the ones that are still in the atmosphere, people on those would probably be fine. They're walking around, they're basically living like they were flying in an airplane all the time, which probably wouldn't be good for you either, because the air at that altitude's not good.
Mm.
So yeah, that's also another thing. The thing would have to be internally pressurized all the time. And
minor concern.
they suggested that they'd be able to they'd have solar power panels just covering the outside of the building, and that would be enough to fuel this 15,000 story skyscraper with nothing but a few solar panels.
No, just stop a few on there. No problem.
Like, if you've ever seen pictures of the space station, and if you've ever noticed the fact that the space station only houses about 10 people, it's about the size of if you were to consider its volume, it's the size of a very small house, and
A shed.
it's got more solar panels. Its total surface area is like 90% solar panels and 10% living space.
Yep, they got one window, and apparently that window cost like the same. It costs as much as an entire house.
It's a special window.
The
It's
pressurized
very-
windows are hard to make, yes.
Yes, it basically needs to keep the space out.
Yeah.
You don't want the space
All over
invading
the
you
space.
when you're in a space.
It needs to keep the entire space out, including Pluto.
It needs to keep the entire universe out, including
So-
Earth.
So try to imagine now how big the solar panels on this building would actually need to be to power it. Now just picture in your mind's eye, there's this big rod coming from the sky, and attached to the rod at either side are these giant sheets about 10 times the size of the rod at either side. And when you look up at it at noon, as it passes over the sky, it completely blots out the sun for the entire day.
Then
That
you will
sounds-
fight in the shade.
Yeah.
Everyone within half an orbit of the planet will be in eternal darkness.
Just because someone need to build a really tall structure. For the lols.
Your birds eat your heart out.
In reality, if something like that was ever actually built, it would be much more sensible for its power source to be a nuclear reactor.
Would one be enough though?
Yeah, one nuclear reactor can probably power a city, but then again, you'd also have like water reclamation and stuff, which takes a lot of energy. Because obviously you can't be flushing toilets out of your giant space skyscraper because you need that water.
Well,
Maybe.
you probably can, but you also need a lot of power to pump that shit around. And by shit I mean literal shit, because it's toilets. But yeah, Good luck with that. So yeah, GG designers for making a skyscraper that's basically never going to work. Ever.
I'm
And
sure
also-
it will work.
And also it doesn't have toads in it. That means
Yeah.
by default it's not going to work. I mean, if it was full of toads, then
I mean, that's pretty severe construction problem.
yeah. I'm not entirely sure how toads would contribute to making this work, but
Well, as you know, toads have this. What is it called? They can expand their neck to store more air in it, right?
So you just
So you would just fill the skyscraper with toads, with air in their throats, and that would lift up the skyscraper.
that makes all the sense.
There was one issue that was addressed in Mr. Thunderfoot's video when he was complaining about the skyscraper, which I don't think was a valid issue. He complained that one of the proposed things to do to build the skyscraper was that they would need to capture an asteroid and bring it back home.
Just use a ball of toads.
Well, yeah, you could use a ball of toads, or you could use like one of the other 7 moons we have. I bet you didn't know we had 7 other moons.
Oh, well, this
I
is
thought
new
it was like
information to me.
5
So
or 3 or too many moons. What am I supposed to do with them all?
Well, they're not exactly moons. They are asteroids caught in Earth's orbit.
I hope to God it's not moons.
Like, no, seriously, we have a bunch of asteroids already in orbit. What I'm suggesting is we don't need to go to the asteroid belt to get asteroids. We have a few.
I have a feeling.
But are they big enough?
Look, this idea is so retarded, I don't think that matters.
So it's going to be a smaller skyscraper, I get you. It's going to end like above Himalaya, so it won't crash into any mountain.
It
It solves itself.
Also, we haven't even built a skyscraper that's over a kilometer long. So
The moon will crush your head and make it Mac tonight.
Yeah, that is another problem. We don't actually have the steels that it would be required to build a structure that tall, regardless of whether it's hanging from space or going up into space.
Space.
Unless we got a bunch of spiders.
Spiders are cool.
Just build a tower of spiders into space.
Mm-hmm.
And why specifically spiders?
Because people keep telling me that spider silk is 20 times stronger than the strongest steel.
Right. So you just get a metric shit ton of spiders. They would eventually just create a skyscraper.
I mean, apparently the stuff that spider webs are made of are strong enough to catch a fly while the fly is flying. Because flies fly.
True,
no.
true.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if we create like a giant balloon made out of spider webs and just fill it up with flies. See where we're going with this?
Yeah, the flies can get out, but they fly.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
You're catching my drift.
indeed.
I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Basically, it's a giant balloon made of flies in spider web, and the spider web is super powerful because it's spiders, and the flies, they try to fly away, but they can't because it's caught.
Because they're in the balloon made of spider webs.
Yes, and then you just attach a skyscraper. Checkmate, atheists.
Yay!
And then you'll be rich. Anyway, what else happened in the past week?
Well, Artrix,
Yes.
did you know that Allahu in fact Akbar?
Wait, Allah in fact Akbar? No.
Yes,
How?
in fact.
Oh, in fact.
Yeah.
So So it's about France, isn't it? It's France again.
It's always about France.
What did they do in France this time?
Apparently they got out of a bus and shot a policeman and another policeman, but that one survived. And a tourist. And then the policemen were like, "We don't like being shot at," and shot the guy who was shooting. And then they were like, "Right, there was two guys." And then the other guy went to a police station and turned himself in.
Well, what a scrub! You never turn yourself in.
Exactly.
Jeez.
And were
Like, it was
these friendly French natives?
Yes, absolutely French, absolutely native. 110% native.
Mhm.
Are you making up facts now? Are these alternative facts?
Maybe. Also, there was that in the country next over, known as Germany.
Uh-huh.
There was the bus that was almost blown up. Well, turns out that actually wasn't Akbar's.
Oh.
That was a German, an actual German, except of Russian origin.
Uh-huh.
And he decided to blow up the bus so he can buy the stocks of the football club when they go down. Yeah. The funny part about it is that the suspect that the police got at the first at first,
Mhm.
that guy was actually a commander of an ISIS unit.
Oh Jesus! I'm pretty sure the biggest problem with this whole thing is that's insider trading.
Yep.
I mean that's terrible. Trying to
Just
manipulate
imagine-
this.
Just imagine being a policeman and getting a suspect who's suspected of blowing this bus up, and then you just accidentally find out he's a commander of an ISIS unit.
See what probably happened there is they were like, well, we happen to know this guy is a commander of an ISIS unit, but he hasn't done anything yet, so we can't arrest him. Oh look, a bus blew up. It must have been that guy. And then they arrested that guy, and he was like, sure, yeah, I'm ISIS, but I didn't blow up any buses. What you talking about?
And let me guess, the kid had like red hair, and he was wearing like a jacket, and his name is Red Herring. And Fred came up to him, and he's like, "You did this." And then he was like, "Well, my name might be Red Herring, but I sure as hell didn't do this. Fuck off, Fred. No one likes you. No one watches Scooby-Doo for the Fred."
Yeah, but then he comes back and says, "And what about this other terrorism you did?"
Yeah, and then something does actually happen.
And he goes to jail for all the other terrorism, but not this terrorism because they are very fair. You just get to jailed for the terrorism you did, not the one you didn't. That reminds me, somebody in America recently got 2 consecutive life sentences plus 5 years.
But, so is it because he refused to eat the hamburger?
Probably.
Oh.
It was not free enough.
Exactly. What they will
And if you hate freedom, you don't deserve freedom.
What probably happened was that he went to a restaurant and he asked for French fries. And then he was arrested because French fries are officially not American.
They call it freedom fries.
That was silly when that happened. When America was like, we don't like France anymore. We're going to call our fries freedom fries.
I thought America never liked France.
They do, but they don't like to admit it.
France once gave them a statue.
And that too. Gotta be grateful about that. I mean, they probably spent an entire afternoon making that statue.
Yeah. Hon, here is a less statue.
And then America's like, thanks,
What are you
mate.
talking? What? Talk English.
They were like, you will, mate? What's this? And then friends was like, "You sound suspiciously British," and then they concede that they were basically just culturally appropriating British culture.
Basically, France figured out America's secret, and that's why America doesn't like France anymore.
Because they figured out that America is actually just England, but pretending to be.
Exactly.
Oh, dude.
Also, breaking news: scientists figured out why shoelaces untie themselves.
Is it
I
because
always
people-
wanted to know that. Why is it?
I don't know. I didn't click at the message yet.
Oh,
My God,
are-
I'm
are
pretty
you-
sure it's going to be people don't tie them well.
Apparently, no. It's a complex interaction of various physical forces.
are you going to clickbait sites?
I don't know.
Oh,
Like we have one news site in Slavland.
just
Well,
one?
We don't know the difference, you know.
After following a few links after I was reading about flying cars, I discovered there's a few other flying cars on the table. Most of them have exactly the same problems. You know, giant rotors that will murder everyone on the street, so thus are not actually practical.
Yeah.
But the most hilarious
How is
thing,
that not practical.
it's just
Not practical, but hilarious.
if you keep murdering all the people who are trying to get into the car, you won't have any passengers.
Hmm. And then you
That's
won't make any money,
That's
obviously.
But the most hilarious thing I'm discovering now is half of these flying cars have parachutes. And I don't
Okay.
just mean for the passengers, I mean for the car.
Well, they're small enough.
And supposedly this is a proposal that people are thinking, do you know what? Maybe we should fit giant parachutes on all the airplanes.
That does make me wonder, why don't they put parachutes in airplanes?
Apparently, there are some small airplanes that have giant parachutes for the plane themselves. I was just looking at one here.
I mean, one of, I'm pretty sure as a kid, each and every one of us has had this idea at some point. So you hear about an airplane crashing, and then you think, wait a minute, why don't they just, create a, they create like a platform that all the passengers are on, and whenever the airplane is about to crash, they just all have like this ejector seat, and it's like one giant platform that just ejects, and it's like one giant parachute with the seats attached to it, and
Yeah.
everyone just lands safely in the ocean. And
I'm
then
just
they die
looking-
of malnutrition because they're in the middle of the ocean.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, I just found the details on the plane I was talking about. It's a Cyrus SR-22, and it's about the same size as a Cessna.
Mhm.
You've all seen Cessnas. They're that small one-engine plane that you see in every movie ever when someone steals a plane. So you know
That's
what size
probably-
it is.
That's probably why they use those, because they're small and probably
yeah.
inexpensive.
I mean, they are so small you can use them to carry your bikes.
But now I'm just sitting. I've just got the picture in my head right now of a 747 suffering engine failure and just 50 parachutes popping out of every wing.
And everyone dies because, sudden changes in velocity and whatnot, but at least the airplane's safe.
Honestly, I'm picturing something straight out of my Kerbal, because I basically put parachutes on everything in Kerbal.
Better be safe.
Well, no, because I wanted to recover it to save money because I was in career mode. So I
Yes,
put parachutes in my
that's
rocket
being
boosters.
safe.
I could take it off. It's like, oh, that's a disposable rocket booster. No, it's not. It's got 7 parachutes. It did cause some instabilities in the decoupling sections sometimes.
Well, you need to recouple it before the parachutes open.
Yeah, but you can't. Kerbal doesn't let you, so you have to do it all at the same time.
Well,
Kerbal technology is not there yet to handle sequencing.
Well, you sort of can. if you're okay with not controlling your horribly out of control rocket for a couple of seconds, and you switch to controlling the falling rocket booster, then maybe you could manually toggle on the parachutes. But then you go back to your rocket and you find it upside down and plummeting towards the Earth with a large plume of flame coming out of the back of it.
Nobody died while doing that, I'm pretty sure.
I think that's probably because nobody's ever done that, because it's insane.
Insanely
Yeah,
awesome.
technically I'm right. The best kind of right.
Yes.
Now that we've talked about silly things and parachute planes, terrible things happened this week, apart from in France.
And we were trying to make this the positive episode.
Oh,
May-
talking about France, there was a occurrence after the occurrence.
Mm.
Apparently, there's some sort of election where they elect
Oh, yeah.
people in France
Yeah, they tend to do that.
to be the new Sarkozy, and because the old new Sarkozy is too old. And apparently there was supposed to be some debate or meeting, and now then there's been love and peace everywhere. They are not having the meeting anymore. I wonder why.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that a certain group that is very opposed to a certain ideology, that they at no point did become themselves? They would never do that. Are you saying those people are involved?
No.
Oh.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm
What are you
saying
talking
that-
about?
that
It's
after
about
a guy shot some policemen, the politicians were like, "Okay, we are not meeting anymore.
Oh.
They're just going to hide in the anti-religion of peace cellar and discuss the situation."
At least
Because
it's it's not, at least it's not like the Netherlands, where this party that's very sensible and just wants to, talk and have democracy, and then some people are like, but discrimination, and they want
it's
to
kind of
fuck everyone
fanatics,
up.
you know.
But
You have this a armed happening, and then the politicians are like, "Let's talk about security."
the moment
I wonder what gave them the idea.
it has nothing to do with armed people. At all.
And then the newspaper, news site I was reading was like, we wonder if some of the candidates will be helped by this event.
It's not gonna be Le Pen. I mean,
No, not at
she's
all.
obviously Nazi, and
Yes.
she's terrible.
Nobody
because
likes her.
No one likes her. I mean, no one
But
wants to get out of the EU.
But
I mean,
everyone
that-
knows anyone who doesn't like having their friends and loved ones murdered by people with trucks is a Nazi.
Exactly.
Just get used to it.
Exactly. Just get used to it. This is the new France, the new and improved France.
This is why I'm glad
France
there's
2.0.
there's like a Germany and a France and an England and an ocean between me and everything else in Europe.
Mhm.
Finally, you are glad for England.
Yeah,
It-
you're still, on the European continent, but there's like a nice little bit of North Sea in the way.
He's like associate, not really in.
There's like on one side there's the Atlantic, and the other is the England and the North Sea.
I'd feel a little bit more secure if someone flooded the Channel Tunnel. I mean, that it's very easy for people to hop onto a train while no one's looking, and that gets them so much closer.
Okay.
Yeah, but Panboy, how am I ever going to drive up to England one day? You
Well,
gotta take that into account
you
too.
Need to do that before some retarded suicide bomber decides to explode himself in the Channel Tunnel.
Oh,
You-
okay.
You can swim from England to Ireland. People have done it.
Yes, but I'm not going to take my car and everything in it across.
I'm just saying, I don't want it to be easy to get here.
Okay. What if I gave you my current computer? But I need to bring it over to you.
Oh no. Will that prevent trucks from coming into my country? Trucks of peace.
No, actually, I don't need to do that because they're already being
But
prevented.
watch out! It's going to be computer of peace.
It's already. It's so. Look,
Like
look,
you,
look,
you boot up the system and there's immigrant all over your house suddenly.
look,
God.
look, look. You're making this more complicated than it ought to be because it's already hard to get into Dublin with the truck. They
It's true.
already did everything in the power to make it really difficult. So actually, for once, your government did a good thing. They made it hard
it
for
is
trucks
true.
to get into to Dublin.
Yeah, but the problem there is you can still get a 2-axle truck through the city.
Mm,
And a 2-axle truck is enough.
There's still too many axles.
okay, so obviously what you need to do is, well, you already have Guinness all over the fucking place. You just gotta up it up a little bit. Just make sure that there's Guinness on every street corner.
But don't you understand, Artrix? That makes them even angrier and makes them want more trucks because it's haram.
Yeah, but they won't be able to because there's Guinness all over the place and they can't get anywhere near the Guinness. Because they're
Oh, I
like,
see.
oh my god,
they're-
there's if you know, if I crash this truck into this horde of infidels and a drop of no Guinness gets into my mouth, I'll go to hell and then it will all in vain and I won't get my 6 billion virgins.
We need to
I
give it
think
bacon flavor.
I think they made it 72,000 virgins at this point.
Mhm.
They keep upgrading it.
Exactly. I mean, there's a severe inflation in the virgin market. I mean,
See, I
even-
would think that the amount of virgins is limited, and with the amount of people who are contributing themselves, the number of virgins per person will go down.
What they don't tell you is the virgins on offer are the other people who blew themselves up.
Exactly.
And the number keeps rising because they get there and they're like, oh shit, I don't want this. And then they stay virgins.
You aren't a virgin now.
The joke's on you.
So, yes, the number of virgins keeps going up exponentially.
Before you know it, it's gonna be enough to cover every star in the universe, and even then it just keeps going. And then,
Allah, we have problem. The universe is flooded with virgins.
but there's not enough universe to contain all these virgins. We need an extra universe. Can you do that? You know, you're the creator of the entire goddamn universe. I'm pretty sure you can just create another one. You know, you did before. I'm sure you can do it again. Just make another one, and then you'll be rich. Except, you know, you're already rich because you're the creator of the entire universe. But like I said, we just need another one. Just do it.
So,
Did you know that 0% of people controls 100% of the universe?
Zero
Yes.
people. Yeah.
Makes sense.
and here's the thing. The internet is becoming a fantastic tool. You understand, yeah?
Yeah,
Wait.
Russian hackers.
I
I bet they do it over the internet.
Also,
Did-
is there another season of Search for the Evil Not Divide Us flag? I haven't kept up. Maybe they're
No.
already at season 7.
He no
No,
longer
no.
has a flag though.
They put a fantastic spin on the hunt for random people on the internet. Rather than hunting for Shia LaBeouf, the Chans of 4 have been hunting for a man who decided to post a killing spree on Facebook.
Oh,
So-
that is
But
something
didn't he
useful
kill
for
himself already?
So in other words, you're saying that they weaponized autism to find a ruthless serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like cereal.
Well, I don't like serial.
But do at least like killers?
Well, no, I can't really say I do.
Oh no.
No, yeah. Typically, they're not really the kind of people I like to hang out with. I'm sorry. I mean,
So-
under other circumstances, I would probably agree with you, but you know, when you go around killing people, that's where I can draw the line. You know, maybe it's just 2 people, then you know, maybe, but 3, 3? No, that's why I draw the line. Anyway, you were saying.
Well, apparently this man decided I've had a rough breakup, so I'm just going to go on Facebook and start shooting people. And this turned to 4chan sending him mail and phoning him and texting him for hours while trying to prove his location so that the police could go and arrest him.
And that's
But
basically.
he killed himself.
But it
These
does.
people usually do.
It does sound like this particular serial killer just needed to lurk more. Because, well, for one thing, he was live streaming it on Facebook. That's already kind of noobish.
I don't think he actually live streamed it. I think he posted a clip of a murder and then kept live posting as he was walking around the city, supposedly shooting people. He claimed to have shot 14 people, but I don't think anyone actually has confirmation on whether he shot 14 people or not.
Okay, so maybe he was just being an internet tough guy.
Perhaps, but
yeah.
he definitely shot the first person.
Because
It reminds me of that other guy, unfortunately, who killed people.
People today are very dumb, and they now have the ability to share instantly how dumb they are live with millions of people.
Well, that's the thing. People haven't necessarily gotten more dumb, but it is
Just that the
big.
dumb people, it became easier for the dumb people to present themselves.
Exactly.
Well,
It's-
you know about this recent one, but the first one was like, yeah, I went off the edge. I'm going. That's
Even
Doge. Anyway,
yeah.
he was just like, I'm going to die soon, guys. So I'm just going to kill these people, and then he turned himself to police apparently.
Yeah, and as I was going to say, you know, even and people are often like, yeah, the internet enables that, but that's not entirely true because before all the social medias, you actually needed like a mediocre amount of skill to actually post
Socialist media.
something on the internet. Like you had to find a web host, and you actually need to know some HTML and.
Well, the
some
thing
work
is,
was involved, and now you can just open a fucking Facebook account and upload that shit straight from your phone.
well, the thing is, people have always done crazy things like this to get attention and become famous, and it's always worked. Even before the internet, if you wanted to go on a killing spree to become famous, you did it, and yes, you became famous, and then you died at the end because they always did.
Mhm.
And always do.
And then don't care because they were like, it's basically like one epic rage quit. We're like, well, I'm going to die anyway, so I can do whatever the fuck I want and will have no consequences because I'll be dead.
These kind of spree killings go back as far as, oh god, I think they probably go back to the start of human history, but there's definitely several accounts for them in modern history before the internet, and even hell, there's cults who killed hundreds of their own members, and then there's been numerous standoffs with police and other things, just people being utterly and quite frankly insane.
Well,
Now it's just easier for them to tell everyone how insane they are and show it to you live.
Yep. What a wonderful world. But then again, yeah, it always happened. It's just become
Which is why
more.
a group of hackers are now trying to build a proxy to uncensor the internet.
Nice.
Seriously.
Yeah, I just found on the register a group of Canadian techies are building a proxy that they're calling Slytherin to apparently it's Doctor Who inspired, but that's a Harry Potter name. But but yes,
It's
they
very
are
confusing.
they've written a proxy to find news articles that governments are censoring and publish them.
Sounds good.
So this is to get around, I presume, the Facebook censor bots and the Google censor bots.
That does make me wonder though, how is it supposed to work? Because if one of the social media sites decide we're not going to publish this because it's meme.
It's memes. Memes kill people.
Yeah, but they would still post memes because that's their bread and butter. But
I think that was clickbait.
yeah, but memes are a form of clickbait, I suppose. And anyway, so they're like, yeah, this post is wrong think, so we're just not going to publish it. So it's not on their servers, so there is nothing to uncensor because it's fucking gone. So how is it? Because back in ye olden times, and by which I mean like the 2000s, we had like this little proxy called Proxomitron, and it was basically the precursor to AdBlock. So it would basically put all your website through proxy, and it would filter all the ads, and it just presented you with, well, squeaky clean page without ads. But the guy that made the proxy died, and
Then he was dead.
then it was dead. So was the program.
I'd imagine that a lot of the stuff that's being censored isn't actually posted on Facebook, but there's links to it, and then and then people get in front of Facebook and whatnot, and other government agencies get between the links and block it before it reaches you. So this server, I imagine they would find sites that have been blacklisted by governments and media sites, and then serve them up to you anyway. So
for instance, if Breitbart was banned, they could just show it anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Instead of getting like a government page, it's like, yeah, this page has been blocked for hate speech. It would just show the page.
Yeah, it would be like, oh, Breitbart's been banned for hate speech, and then when your browser gets that response, instead it talks to actually it's called Slateen, not Slytherin, which is a Doctor Who anyway. But yes, then the proxy would say, actually, I have that website, and serve it up to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good job, governments. Now we have fucking proxies. Good job with that.
This is being made by a Canadian hacker group.
Wow, that is one unpatriotic Canadian. I mean, jeez. Before you know it, they'll be serving up. They'll before you know it, they'll even have like criticism on what's his face.
Yes.
The pretty guy, or self-proclaimed pretty guy, Trudeau. It's apparently contagious because even in Dutch politics, you now have like, well, obviously he's on the left, but it's almost like they specifically picked him to be a Trudeau lookalike. Also, wasn't Trudeau an actor at one point?
So you're saying he's a Trudeauable?
Yeah, he's Trudeauable.
But hiring an actor to be your president kind of thing, that's terrible. Why would you ever want a celebrity in office?
Yeah, I know, right? Why would you ever do that? America would never stoop as low as to elect a actor and celebrity for president. They have never done that, and they should never start.
Definitely not multiple times.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Would they do that? Would they elect a celebrity and make him president?
More than once.
Oh.
At least once.
At least once.
I just checked the timestamp on the video. You've been going for minus 11,000 hours.
Oh.
That's good.
I think Picarto's not working.
It probably isn't. Good job, Picarto. Good job. I should probably check on it as well. Well, the other guy that was streaming, he kind of stopped streaming.
Indeed.
But I should tell him that it was being recorded, so he can actually see the actual moment he decided to go. And then be like, oh my god, why do I associate with these people? These are horrible, horrible people. The horrible
People.
podcast.
I mean, that's a default. People. Ugh, horrible creatures.
Anyways, we have about 20 minutes left. So
Oh, no.
what is there left to talk about? Okay, so shootings and oh, there was the Battle of Berkley.
Oh yeah.
So there was this place in Americas that's
It's not anymore.
very peaceful, and these there's two groups of people that really don't agree with one another. One group is like, we don't think you're allowed to say the things you're saying, and then
We
the
don't
other group
like
is
you.
like, well, fuck you too. And that basically went on for an entire day, and nothing of value was gained or lost.
It was kind of hilarious, though.
Yes, it was very hilarious. For one thing, the anti-fags were blown the fuck out because they were like, look at us, we're Antifa. We've been terrorizing small towns and small businesses and with our sheer
You mean-
presence and our techniques."
Liberating.
I mean, liberating, of course. And then all of a sudden they figured, oh my god, these people, these horrible, horrible Nazis, actually came prepared. And they're
Well,
beating the shit out of us.
Actually, it went more like this. Antifa were like, hey, we're going to march straight into your peaceful gathering and we're going to cause ruckus. And then the peaceful gathering said, do you know what? There's like 10 times more of us than there are of you. And we don't have to take this bullshit.
Mhm.
And then they chased them down the street and they ran away like little pussies.
Yep.
The pussies
It-
they are.
It was probably one of the first times the world was shown what a bunch of fucking cowards they can be. For one thing, they use their anonymity that already, 4chan anonymity is one thing, but if you're going down the streets to basically, be like, smash capitalism and all the symbols it represents, and then you smash the limousine owned by an Indian guy who's just trying to make an honest living.
Oh, Artrix.
Yeah.
Don't forget that liberals will get the bullet too.
Yes, they will get the bullet too, obviously. So that's why they
Although-
should support them.
One very bizarre thing that did go down during this event was the complete and utter lack of any kind of police intervention.
Yes. And I did see a few videos where the police were like, they were just standing there. And they're like, oh, well, can't really tell. You have to go to PR. Can't
It
really
seems
say
like
why we're not, stepping
it doesn't even seem that the police in America have been told not to interfere with riots just as a global thing now. And that could be extremely dangerous for everyone involved, because I think the police in America are just really, really sick of being blamed for all the shit that's going down, when it's really, really not their fault. Like after Ferguson, I don't think the American police want to go anywhere near a riot.
Well, they are often the target of riots because supposedly they're super racist. So yeah, then you get people basically sniping cops because they feel justified to do it. Never mind that the guys that they are sniping to death are also black people that are also police officers. But blue lives don't matter. Gotta show the world how terrible these people are.
They could be just trying to make a statement. I mean, the police force,
Mhm.
that they're making the statement now that says, this is what happens when we don't step in. Although, mind you, I think less. I don't know how much damage to the area was actually incurred during this riot.
From what I gathered, actually not all that much.
I think the Trumpers actually maintained control rather well. Actually, after Antifa made an aggressive movement.
Well, that's the thing. This time around, they in prior riots, the protesters seem to be going after property and whatnot, but this time around they kind of had to deal with being targeted themselves. So you can't really go around smashing the patriarchy and capitalism when someone's smashing your skull in with an iron rod. So
it was kind of less damage was incurred because the police weren't there to block the protesters from interacting with each other. So without the police blockade between them, they went straight for their enemy and then discovered their enemy was much fatter than they were.
It's like a schoolyard fight where you're being challenged to fight and the guy's all intimidating and shit, like meet me after school, 3 o'clock, be there or be a wuss. And then you're sitting there getting all worked up. Oh my god, I'm being challenged to fight. What should I do? And you just fuss all day long. Oh my god, this is gonna be awful and I have to go because I have to save my dignity. And then you showed up and then the guy's like, okay, let's do this. And then you just sort of cover up their face with their hand as they raise one knuckle, and you're just standing there like, you all man. And then you wonder why you got so worked up in the first place, because if this is like your opposition, then this isn't so bad. I can deal with this. You don't actually need to fight them. You just sort of say boo, and they just run away like, oh my god, microaggression.
They get scared, accidentally throw a smoke grenade at you, and they miss. Then they are smoke grenaded.
Well, that was their master plan. They challenge you to a fight. You show up, and their plan. Yeah, to anti-fight, and then they throw the grenade, and they think, well, checkmate, atheist. But the joke's on them because the wind is blowing the wrong way, and the smoke actually just hits them in the face, and then they trip.
I have a feeling they didn't really research how you're supposed to use smoke grenades, because the smoke blowing against you isn't a problem. Because if you're covered in a cloud of smoke, your enemy can't see you, so it's fine. You just run away. But they didn't use nearly enough. They only used one, and the damn thing blew away in a matter of seconds. It was like, oh, puff. It was like, okay, that was like a samurai smoke bomb from the movies. I mean, a real smoke grenade, an army smoke grenade. You chuck that thing on the ground, and it burns for about 5-10 minutes, and it's just spewing out this thick white wall of smoke that goes half a mile.
It is almost as if lefties didn't know how reality works.
Well, they obviously got all their military training from watching Netflix, so
it would have been okay if they'd thrown like 10 of those across the street, and then it probably would have given them a decent enough cover for running away. No, that pathetic little pop.
GG.
And then you could literally see it all get blown away in the wind, and it just looked like a little wave. It was sad.
It was really sad. And then they immediately got chased away by a bunch of admittedly, some of these people were not exactly the nicest people. They legitimately did piss off the wrong people.
They weren't the nastiest people, you say?
Yes, I would say that. Some of these people are legit Nazis.
Although my personal impression is that the Nazis joined because they wanted a fight.
Of course, there's a lot of rioters amongst these people, on both sides, mind you. I'm pretty sure that a lot of these anti-fight people are just there because they just want to smash stuff, Gotta show that patriarchy how you really feel.
at every protest, there are a few people who go there purely for the purposes of being violent agitators.
It's called being a dick.
Some people just want to have a fight, and they want to have an excuse to punch a policeman in the face or get punched by a policeman so that maybe they can sue them.
Or they have,
I mean-
something to tell.
That
to
face
their-
punched me in a policeman.
They just want to go to the pub and tell their mates that they punched someone. Like, see
I
the
do-
scar? I got it from this fight.
I find it funny though that I saw a post about the you've probably seen the picture of the girl with dreadlocks getting punched in the face.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and she actually was the one attacking.
Yeah,
Oh, trying to.
and in America they have this very strange rule, and I believe it might be the only place on the planet where they have this rule, which is actually horrible because everywhere should have this rule, and it's called the right to self-defense, or
That's a
as
horrible rule.
Here as well.
if somebody is agitating against you and attacking you and sending an unruly mob in your direction with the intent to hurt, you have the right to beat the fucking shit out of them till they stop.
That's very violent.
It is, and additionally to that, in America, you also have the right to use whatever means necessary, including firearms. Unfortunately, or fortunately, everyone at this protest was actually disarmed by the police before they got there.
Oh yeah, I did see a clip where the police are basically like, "Hey, you're fully clothed in black, and you're wearing a mask, and you're also carrying a pole." And then the guy was like, "Yeah, so what?" And the police like, "Yeah, I'm going to ask you to get rid of the pole, and lower the mask. Let me show that pretty face of yours." But I don't want to. I want to be anonymous, like the evil fortune.
Will you die if I take off the mask?
Yes. For you or something like that. But the police they just pull
take
down
off
the
the mask, please, for me.
Hmm? And then they just take down the mask, and then you just get this face of extreme disappointment. Oh, I want to be a revolutionary, but now everyone knows who I am, and I can't do jack shit anymore because mommy's going to ground me.
I just hate when that happens.
Hmm. I go to a protest, I want to be anonymous, and then police comes up to me and they're like, "No, you can't do this anonymous. You have to show the world who you are." It's almost like
She did actually
Go ahead.
Yes.
go on some liberal media later on to play the victim, and they did take her side, like liberal media usually do.
Are you talking about the chick that was?
Yeah.
Well, of course they will protect the chick because he's an awful victim of awful hate crime. That's obviously a hate crime, and everyone. who
Even
participated
though
was obviously
before it
awesome.
happened, she posted all over social media how she's going to kill herself some Nazis.
Mm-hmm. But
Like she went there.
Nazi scallops.
That doesn't sound
Yeah.
like a declaration of intent at all. Oh
Also-
wait, no, that's
also-
exactly what it sounds like.
also, it.
That way you have to declare all those Nazi scalps, obviously.
Also, I have to wonder. So you want equality, right? You're a feminist. You want equality. Well, that means that you get in a fight, you get punched in the fucking face.
The thing is,
That sounds like
feminism
equality to me. I don't know about you guys, but
is no longer about equality. It is about supremacy.
of course it is. That's the whole point. And it's blaringly obvious to anyone who's not, a feminist. Because if it really was about equality, a few things you notice in this whole rhetoric is, okay, so we see a disparity of the jobs that women have and that men have, and
Jobs.
we want women to have the same opportunities, the same kind of jobs that men have. So obviously, we should have more women in the landfill
jobs.
landfill processing industry. We should have more of them in the sewage treatment industry because there are way too many men in this industry. We need more women in there, and
Women don't even know how to treat sewage.
and more in garbage collection because there's way too many men in that industry. We need more women in there. Oh, wait a minute, no one's actually suggesting that because it's not about that.
No, they only want more women in science.
And in high paying jobs basically. And
High-paying science jobs.
the most hilarious thing is that if you press some of these people on it, so because you don't believe that more women should be in garbage collection and whatnot, right? Because that's mostly done by men, and then they're like, the women deserve better than that. So let me get it straight: you want more equality of the sexes, but only if it's about really nice jobs, about nice desk jobs. A nice little job where you sit at a desk in a nice air-conditioned room, and then, of course, complain
So
that
a
the room...
carpenter.
Obviously, we should have more women in carpenter.
That's a desk job.
Yes.
When I think about it, that is actually something the communists over here in former Czechoslovakia did right.
Yes.
I mean, they freaking had quotas for women to work in mines, to work in like Zvernekovi,
Metal recycling, basically.
metal recycling, all those filthy jobs usually associated with men. The communists said
The filthy man.
mandatory quotas, and you are going to work there. You have no choice because we have to fill the quota and we have to be equal.
You have to build the socialism.
Well, it's very
Yeah.
true, and I actually give props to them for doing that. That is...
Artrix, you're a commie.
I'm totally communist now because I agree on that one thing. That, if you're going to, I think communism sucks and the world should not be communist, but if you absolutely have to do it, if you can't help yourselves,
You absolutely have to be a communist.
if you absolutely have to be a communist, if you just can't help yourself, then yes, women should also do all the icky jobs. I mean that, if you're going to have a state-run health childcare system and everything, if you do everything in your power to make sure that women are not tethered to their children and childbirth and whatnot, including going full 1984 and introducing things like ArtSam, as they call it, then yes, women should do the shitty jobs too. Makes sense. But fortunately, we don't live in such a society. We actually recognize
Anymore.
I think I prefer the idea of people just,
doing what they want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. If a woman wants to be a stay-at-home mother,
that sounds like
and she
some
has the
hippie
means to do it.
individualist bullshit, Panboy.
If a woman wants to be a stay-at-home mom, which plenty of them still do, and have the means to do it, then nothing should be in the way.
And have the means of production to do it. Wait a moment.
Well, usually the means of production is basically just marrying a guy that can provide.
Well,
So-
the basic mean of production is to have a vagina.
Yes, that too.
Well, I don't have a vagina as a means of production. I have memes of production.
Mm-hmm.
That is, by the way, one of the reasons why objectively men and women probably will never be truly equal.
No,
Because men just can't give birth, even when they want to.
there are inherent
Just don't have
biological
vaginas.
differences between men and women that you're not going to feminist away, no matter how hard you try.
But they're trying. They're talking about implanting wombs into men.
Well, good luck with that.
Damn right.
Question,
Let's
would
just
it be
make our
mandatory?
let's just make our own wombs with our children and let the women do their feminist stuff. They don't care.
Well, it's going to be terrifying when we get to the point where it's easy to clone organs for transplants, because then anyone anywhere can at any time, if they have enough money and know a plastic surgeon's willing to do it.
Oh, we're kind of getting there. We can
They-
grow basic frameworks of organs already. Not all of them, obviously.
So once that happens, and you can basically clone everything, then there will really be no limit to what kind of genetic what modifications you can do to yourself.
So you can truly transform from man to woman.
That would actually be really good for all those transgender folks with dysphoria who really need,
But
they have a brain thing going on.
If that is possible, if you can actually change the makeup of one's DNA and implant an actual functioning womb and everything, then that changes the game completely.
But now I'm just picturing, people doing it cosmetically. People who want all the things.
So they also want they're not
They
content just
want,
being
they
a
want
woman.
it all. They want it all, Artrix. They'll want it all just for fun.
Free
So
vagina.
basically, you'll get people who replace their nipples with penises.
Probably.
Sounds kinky.
Oh yeah, it's kinky, but yeah, it's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be very weird. It's going
Have
to
you
take a
ever
lot.
read? Did anyone here except for me ever read Transmetropolitan?
I have a few issues,
I know very well what it's a thing that exists.
but yeah, that basically describes cyberpunk. It's basically cyberpunk the comic.
Yeah, but less cybernetic implants and more just crazy plastic trans-species surgery thing.
Well, there was that famous scene in Total Recall with the woman with 3 breasts.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, only more extreme.
There'll
Yeah.
be real life furries.
That's the less scary part.
You haven't seen a real life furry then.
Okay. We are approaching the end of the episode, so I want to bring up one more topic before calling it a night, which is the biggest success story of communism. I kind of want to segue from what we were talking about earlier, but then we do it away. But I'll go back to it. So apparently, Venezuela is a very successful socialist nation, and it's a good example of how we do socialism. It's doing really well right now. Like
Is it better example than Sweden? Because they
much
also
better because they're so wealthy. Like they don't even know what to do with themselves. So because
I'm
so
pretty sure
poor.
they know what to do. They just keep producing telenovelas.
Because they're so bored out of their skull because of all this extraordinary amount of wealth that there are riots in the streets in Venezuela. Like
We want less money. Take all this money. We don't want it.
They're like, yeah, we have all this. They're like, God damn it, we have all this food and all this wealth. Like we've got so many houses and it's just, we're just being flooded. I can't even walk down the street without running into some money and some food. It's so annoying. I want the government to do something about it because this is a socialist paradise and I want the government to take care of me from cradle to grave. Because that's obviously what they were protesting against. That, they were so upset with the level of wealth in their country that they just had no other option to protest. To tell the government, slow down a bit, will ya? Just slow down a little bit. We're getting too wealthy here. We actually need a little bit less wealth.
So you're saying Venezuela is doing pretty nice, yeah?
Yep, they're doing really well right now.
Sounds about right.
Mhm.
I've seen the videos of people, in really long lines to go to the supermarket because the bread is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they just can't wait to try some good old-fashioned Venezuelan bread.
Bread
Because
is
it's
so perfect. You know, they're abducting the bakers to make it better.
exactly. And the government is enforcing these price quotas on the bread. Like, we think this is a fair price for flour, so we're going to impose these limits on the price because we think everyone should be able to afford flour. And then they discover, wait a minute, so now we have these criminal gangs. They're just buying all the flour and buying it at market prices. Who would have thought? It's almost as if, market prices dictate the price of flour and not some government mandate. What sort of bizarro world is this? So yeah, Venezuela doing really great right now. There are no riots in Venezuela, and all the usual all the usual news outlets are not dropping them en masse because they're no longer the perfect example of socialism that they can point to and say, look, it works. No, they're pointing to Sweden and Norway now because
It works
that's
as long as
And
the
those
workers
are
work.
going to be destroyed soon as well.
I don't know.
Norway's fine.
Norway's fine actually. They
Sweden, on the other hand.
they are kind of fucked up, but apparently they're
Also,
building
apparently there are
defense.
some immigrants in Finland.
Oh, Finland of all places. They were into Spur though.
And Finns have real trauma from it because they are not used to people moving in a radius of a kilometer around them, and suddenly
Mhm.
there's immigrants.
So did they introduce them to Euro
I mean,
shopper?
when you're Finnish, you have to understand when you're Finnish, you can sense when somebody crosses the border, and you get very uneasy because that means there are more people closer to you.
Yes. So because now you might have to share your Euro shopper energy drink with someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, you need that Euro shopper energy drink. I mean, where else are you gonna get all that energy from?
Vodka.
Actually having a very nutritious diet. Pff, come on.
All you need is a chair, a bottle of vodka, and a clock that ticks loudly. That's
Yes.
what constitutes as a home in Finland.
Yep. And don't forget Euro shopper energy drink.
Also, since I mentioned immigrants, I remember a thing. One of our politics people was dealing with this sort of stuff. Well, he said that out of the 3,000 quoted immigrants, we accepted 12, and that's how it's going to stay.
Well, 12 is not. That's a dozen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, now we can say that you got a dozen of.
That's
Immigrants, that's
roughly
a
one
nice-
immigrant per 1,000,000 of Czech people.
Well, I'm sure you can
I'm not
deal
sure
with.
we can handle that. I mean, Poland accepted like 80 of them. Largo told me that. I was like, are you crazy? There's not even 80 million of Poles. What are you going to do? You insane maniacs.
Well, obviously they're going to stuff them with what was it? Piorgis?
Pirogi.
Pierogi?
Depends if you want to say it in Czech or in Russian.
Isn't it Italian too? I think it's got roots in a lot of cultures.
Well, the word, I don't know. I think it's Russian.
Isn't it derived from rohi? In other words, horns?
Yeah, I have to like. Sounds reasonable.
Anyway, we're close to hitting the 1 hour 40-minute mark, so we really ought to put an end to. We should put this very happy, positive episode out of its misery because it's been
Yeah.
positive.
No,
for
just
too
just
long.
press the button. Don't talk.
No, I will talk. I will
Let's
never
talk.
abruptly.
More action.
More action. So thank you for watching this episode of Radio Rothingham. Like, subscribe, doing all good jazz. See you next time for another retired episode of Radio Rothingham. Bye.